Have you ever opened your phone just for a minute, and then, almost without warning, felt your mind become heavy? Not sad, not stressed, just quietly and silently overwhelmed. Your thoughts might get a little blurry, your emotions feel tangled up, and your brain starts asking for silence, even though nothing bad has actually happened. If you've ever felt this soft mental exhaustion after scrolling, you are not imagining it. There is real psychology behind this feeling, and millions of people are experiencing the same thing every single day. Last year, the average American checked their phone almost 100 times a day. We don't do this because we want to. We do it because social platforms are built on the exact same reward loops that keep gamblers hooked. Every swipe, every scroll becomes a tiny neurological gamble. Every notification delivers a small spike of dopamine, that feel-good chemical. But the real problem isn't the phone itself. It's what this constant stimulation demands from your brain. Human brains evolved to process only a few hundred signals a day. Think about it. A bird singing, the wind rustling leaves, a conversation with a friend. Now, within a single hour of scrolling, we force our brains to process thousands of signals. Psychologists call this cognitive overload. It's a state where your mind feels full, blurry, uncertain, and unable to settle down. This isn't burnout. It isn't depression. It's simply too much input, delivered way too quickly, for an emotional system that was never built for this kind of pace. Because of this rapid-fire input, your brain begins switching emotional topics every few seconds. One moment you're watching a hilarious joke, the next you're seeing a devastating tragedy, then a friend's selfie, then a clip from a war zone, then a meme, then a political argument, then someone sharing their deepest trauma. Imagine your mind is a quiet, empty room. Every scroll opens a new door. You scroll again, another door opens, and again, until suddenly, you're standing in a massive hallway full of other people's emotions carrying feelings that aren't even yours, but that your brain is still desperately trying to process. No wonder your mind feels so tired. But the overwhelm isn't just informational, it's emotional. Social media doesn't just show you content, it shows you raw human emotion, a crying face, an angry rant, someone's heartbreak, someone else's pure joy. And without even realizing it, you absorb all of it. Neuroscientists call this emotional contagion, which is the very human tendency to catch emotions from the people around us. And here's the critical part. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real person crying right in front of you and a person crying in a video on your screen. To your nervous system, it's all real. This is exactly why, after scrolling, you sometimes feel heavy, drained, overstimulated, numb, or suddenly anxious without understanding why. Your emotional system is shifting between states so quickly that eventually, it just shuts down. And that silence you feel, it isn't peace. It's a sign of emotional overload. Then there's something we rarely talk about: comparison fatigue. Studies consistently show that heavy social media users experience higher levels of self-judgment, comparison, inadequacy, and FOMO, the fear of missing out. What's surprising is that you don't even choose to compare yourself. Your brain does it automatically. It compares your real, messy, everyday life to someone else's single best moment. A moment that's often filtered, edited, curated, or professionally staged. Your subconscious mind quietly starts measuring you against people you don't even know. This creates something called identity dissonance, that internal tension between who you are and who you believe you should be, based on what you see online. You might not even feel consciously jealous, but your brain gets exhausted from constantly grading your worth against these unrealistic and impossible standards. And then comes doomscrolling, the part where negativity hits you harder than anything else. Human brains react more intensely to negative information because of something called the negativity bias. It's a survival mechanism that's wired deep into our DNA. So when your feed mixes in disasters, crime reports, political conflict, tragedies, or human suffering, your nervous system responds as if there's a real danger nearby. You could be lying comfortably in your bed, perfectly safe, but your body quietly slides into a low-level fight-or-flight mode. Your mind becomes alert, restless, and uneasy, not because anything bad is happening to you, but because your brain perceives danger through the screen. It's a constant, low-grade stress that slowly wears you down. Finally, after all this rapid stimulation, the emotional contagion, the comparison, the doom scrolling, comes the crash. Social media trains your brain to expect constant rewards. You swipe, you get a reward, you scroll, you get a reward. When that pattern suddenly stops, your dopamine levels dip, and your brain experiences a kind of micro-withdrawal. Out of nowhere, you might feel empty, irritable, sad, or just mentally foggy. This isn't because something is wrong with you. It's because your brain is simply resetting itself after being overstimulated for way too long. Psychologists sometimes refer to this emotional crash as dopamine overwhelm. But here is the good news: your mind can recover. You can reclaim your mental space. One of the simplest and most effective ways to do this is to give your brain a moment to close the tabs. After you stop scrolling, just pause for 20 seconds. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let your mind catch up. Also, try to avoid emotional jumping, that whiplash of going instantly from a tragic story to a comedy skit to a stressful news update. Your emotional system just can't shift that quickly without consequences. A helpful practice is to create a heavy to light to off scrolling pattern. If you see something heavy, consciously look for something lighter, more neutral, or calming before you put your phone down. This helps your mind transition back to a state of calmness more gently. And perhaps most importantly, give yourself a quiet, screen-free hour before you go to sleep. This allows your nervous system to fully settle and prepare for rest. Remember this: not every emotion you feel is yours. Learn to let go of the weight your brain accidentally picks up while you're scrolling. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You are not too sensitive. You are simply a human being living in a world that floods your brain with more emotion and more information than it was ever designed to process. Your feeling of overwhelm is not a flaw, it's your mind's way of asking for protection. And when you understand what's really happening inside you, you can stop blaming yourself and slowly start healing yourself. Thanks for watching.